Guys, it's Erick Esteban, and Miscellaneous Brown is back with another episode. But this episode is going to be a very, very special episode because we have the national co chair of Phil Amps for Harris and a city council member and former mayor of Artesia, California. Ladies and gentlemen, the Honorable Melissa Ramos.
Thank you, Eric, for that introduction. Can you introduce me every time?
Hey, you know what? We can arrange that. That's for sure.
Okay.
Now, I want you to see my shirt. Look at this. I
Yeah,
bought this in
I love
2020.
it. Wow, I love it. I love it.
No, but how are you? I just because I saw on your Instagram. Before we talk about, I do want to get into your history and your story. But before we do that, I want to talk about you were in Vegas last night for the Harris Walz event, weren't you? Tell us about that.
Yeah, so literally I had work in the morning and then I told my boss, I'm going to leave a little bit early because I need to jump on a plane. So I literally went to LAX, hopped over to Nevada, took a lift all the way to the venue, and there I was amongst 19,000 people and trying to experience this momentum. And that's kind of what Philams in our history as a community, we kind of go to our battleground areas, especially Las Vegas, where we have to uplift that vote. And so I've been doing that since probably 2008, 2012 for those first presidentials I was involved with. And to do it again was like, it was just that energy. You just had to be there. And I couldn't miss that because she's not going to come to well, she will, but will that ticket come to California? Maybe, maybe not, but it was an experience I didn't want to miss.
For sure, for sure. So let me tell me about like when you got to the venue. Was it like were you wait? Because they're talking about how your people were waiting in lines and it was hot and what was it like?
It was, yes, a super hot. It was, there were lines that were like super long and people were waiting in the sun. They tried to cover as many people, but I was able to get in, and I just kept circling the venue just to see like how massive this arena was. And it just, when I got there, it just kept filling up, filling up, filling up. And at first it started like first level, second level, then all of a sudden third level, entire arena was filled. But I heard that they didn't get to allow people in, which was unfortunate. But I know Vice President Kamala and Governor Walz will be back, so there'll be opportunities for people to go back. And more than likely, I'll be there and a couple other folks. And it was really great.
Well, I know I'm going to be in Vegas in October. So if
Okay.
they are back and it coincides, that would be if you all really want a good introduction, I can do a good introduction for anybody. I'm just saying that would be crazy. But yeah, I would love to go to one of those rallies. I remember the last time I went to one of those rallies was like how you spoke about '08.
Mhm.
I went to a rally here in LA, an outdoor rally. I believe it was down in Watts with Obama, where it was like that one with where he was wearing the white shirt where he rolled up his sleeves and he didn't have a
Yeah.
tie on and he was just outside speaking. I was at
Yeah.
that one. And then we
Oh,
went
that's
to
amazing.
another rally at with Michelle Obama. And I
Yeah.
think if I'm not mistaken, that was the one. I don't know if I can't remember who was there, but I do remember Michelle, and that's where I got my hope poster. But
Yeah.
there's just something about these rallies, and I feel like this feeling that Kamala and Governor Walz have put, well, I should say Vice President Harris and Governor Walz have kind of, it's almost like a phenomenon. It's like how it felt back in '08 when you were discovering new possibilities with a certain senator from Illinois.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean. I think it's because they're excited. That energy just kind of it sucks you in. It's like, oh my gosh, they're excited. We're excited. We're excited that we could actually win this and we could make a change. And what was really cool is that I got to experience yesterday with the Filipinos. They were there, and what we call the titas of Las Vegas. They were there. They like doing their TikToks, and they were just so energized. I swear, I was dancing with them, but they would not sit down. So
But
it was
that's
just
awesome. That
yeah.
makes me feel, seeing your pictures on Instagram and the stuff that you posted. I was like, oh my gosh, I'm gonna be able to interview her and talk to her about this. This is great. Well, I'm so glad you were able to experience that, and I hope that one of these times when I'm in Vegas before the election and they have may have an event that coincides, and but because I was thinking about going to my hometown of Chicago for the DNC. I wanted
You
to,
should. You
but I
should.
can't. But I
Oh,
can't because I just started a new job,
yeah, that's important.
and I kind
This is
of,
it. DNC is gonna be it. It's gonna be lit. Because we're coming in big numbers there.
and it's also going to be lit because it's my hometown, and I know how Chicago does it, and being a part of that would be really great. So we'll see. I'll see what
Okay.
happens because I mean we still got 2 weeks, right?
No, it next Sunday we're flying in already.
No, no, then I that because I really I was able to my first or my first comedy special was called Miscellaneous Brown, but my second comedy special, because of my job hunting search, was called Unemployable, and so I finally found a job. So I need
Now you have to
to,
take that. Employable.
and it was funny because my current manager, because I'm working at Burbank Airport, and
Hmm.
I'm working as a bartender, barista, and server
Yeah.
in the airport. And I gotta say, what Kamala said in Vegas about the in front of the hospitality union, where she talked about no taxes on tips for
Hmm.
hospitality workers. That made my ear, and not many things about even Democratic politicians who I believe in make my ears perk up like, oh my god, oh that's something
Yeah.
that affects me. But
Yeah.
that's a really big deal. That would be an amazing thing, and almost a little bit of a relief for folks,
Hmm.
because really that's your when you're a tipped employee, that's a big source of your income. But then once when tax season rolls around and you have to account for those cash tips, sometimes that the ends don't meet. So it would be a really interesting proposal for the this new Harris administration to help out these hospitality workers that in that way, and because of
Yeah.
their endorsement too, which is great. um
Yeah. Like yesterday, the culinary union in Nevada to get their
mhm.
endorsement was huge, and the
Yeah.
hospitality workers, so yeah, that carries so much weight, and yeah, well, I'm sure the Vice President Harris will live up to her word.
And it's because nobody's getting rich off of tips. you know if you're working in a job where you're getting tips, you're not getting rich off of it. You're
Mhm.
just getting by off of it. So that it's a really it's a sign that she's really looking out for the middle class, which is great,
Yeah,
because I hope to
definitely.
become part of the upper middle class sooner than later.
I work I'm a government worker, so
Get instead of getting by, we get ahead. I like that line. I really do,
yeah,
because I really would like to get ahead on a
yeah,
lot of things. And I feel like, you know, a President Harris and Vice President Walz would get us ahead, even especially specifically us as Filipino Americans, because you have done so much for us as a community nationally. You were the one of the co-hosts of the Philams for Harris. Uh, what was it? What online meeting? The
community
initial
lunch.
launch meeting,
Yeah,
and I was so proud because I've known you since 2020 when we were doing this, and you were just behind the scenes. You wouldn't let me interview you, but now you're letting me interview, which is so awesome. Um, but tell me a little bit about that, because you kind of alluded to it before. you said you've been going back and forth to Vegas and being a part of the Democratic Party and doing this since '08. Tell me a little, how did you get into this? How did you become a city council member in Artesia, and then ultimately the mayor, and all these different things? Like there's so many things about you that I don't even know, and I'm so curious. So please tell me.
You have to keep some mystery, right? So, actually, I've actually been a government or legislative staffer for 21 years. So I was 10 when I started. No, I'm just kidding. um, so I
You were
actually
an
was
eight. It was eight. You were a genius.
right, but then I didn't become a doctor like my parents wanted me to be. So,
None of
um,
us did, girl. None of us did.
so in college, I studied poli sci. I did an actual internship.
Oh no. Did you freeze? Oh no.
Oh, there you go.
Okay. Oh, there you are. You're back.
There
Okay,
you go.
good.
Was that me or
Okay, good.
Zoom?
You're good. I thought because you
Okay.
froze for a minute, and I was like, okay, good. We're okay. Okay, good.
Okay. Yeah. So basically, in college, I studied poli sci, and then in college, I was at um I was at no, when I was in community college, did an internship with the state assembly, and then I transferred. Once I was graduating, that same office called me and said, we have an opening. Would you like to consider applying? And so the same office that I interned for more than 20 years ago as an intern is the same office I run now as the director. So yeah, I've been in government that long. I've worked
But
at
that's
the
awesome.
yeah, I worked for the state assembly. I went on to work for the state senate in California, and then in around 2015, I went to Congress. So I worked in Congress for a bit, and then once the administration changed into the Trump administration, that's when I told my boss, Congressman Ted Lieu at the time, that I think it's my time to leave because I don't think we're gonna get that much done. So I did, and I went back to the state, and I've been here ever since. But throughout that time, I said, there's gotta, in addition to serving and being a public servant, I wanted to do more. And I literally, back in 2008, or was it 2009, I Googled, when Google became a thing, I Googled Filipino Democrats. And then up came the California Democratic Party, and there happened to be a Filipino American Democratic Caucus that the state party had. And I just like clicked and looked at LA. I emailed the Jocelyn Giga Rosenthal, who's one of our longtime leaders in LA. And she said, come join our meeting. And then all of a sudden, she was putting me in place to be their LA chair. And then next year, I became the chair of the caucus. So I literally ushered in a new generation of Filipino Americans at that time to lead in the Democratic Party. And just to see it grow ever since. And then I also chaired the API, which is the Asian Pacific Islander Caucus. It was just amazing to be part of that movement and just like get Asian Americans, Filipino Americans, everyone across the board elected into office, and then taking it to a national level. I realized there's so much that our voice can do, and that representation matters so much. So that's why I've been in this so long that eventually
I mean,
there's
you've seen all the people. You've
yeah,
seen everybody grow and go in and get into office. Which is
yeah,
incredible because that was what was so impressive to me about that panel of people for Philams for Harris was it was all elected Filipino American officials that had been
yeah,
elected to office. It was amazing to see, and then of course our Attorney General Bunta, and it makes me dream big about California and the possibilities of what we can do. It's amazing, and
yeah,
you've been such a big part of that. It's
yeah.
incredible.
I think I mentioned it on the launch that I met Genevieve Mina, who's from Alaska. There's a sister in Alaska, right? She's really down, and I met her in 2016. We were
The
both delegates.
earrings. I remember,
Yes,
right? She had the ear. She had them
yeah.
fire ass
Somebody somebody
Alaska
from
earrings.
California like that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so she we met because I hunted her down. I was back then 2016. I was running Filipino Americans for Harris, and I was just looking at every state of who our delegates were, and I came across her name, and I just messaged her and like, hey, we're all going to try to convene at the convention. This was North Carolina, no, Philly. And she came, and that's how I got to know of her and just watch her growth. She was like not even 21 at that time. And then she was heart progressive because she was a Bernie delegate. But I just saw her grow through the years, and then she became a freaking state house representative. That's just so awesome. And
That's
that same
amazing.
story, yeah, the same story goes for Maria Cervania. She was our North Carolina lead in 2020. So that kind of just propelled her when she just started getting into politics. That propelled her to like, I'm going to seek for office. And I watched her grow in the 4 fast years, and she's been amazing.
I mean, like I said, everybody on that panel was so impressive, up to including
Yeah,
my boy Stephen Raga in New York.
him too. When
Okay, so I met Stephen Raga back in, God, it had to be like 2012 maybe, and we were
Mhm,
in Ohio for a MAFA, a Midwest Asian or a Midwest Association. I can't remember what MAFA
mhm,
stands for, to be honest. I can't remember all these acronyms, but it was a MAFA conference at Ohio State University, and I met Stephen there, and we just struck up a friendship. And I remember doing a few karaoke comedy fundraisers for his campaign when he was running for his seat for Queens. So it's so amazing to see all these people now elected to office, and to see the growth, and to see. I mean, even in our relationship with us, where from 2020, where I was making 10-minute videos, which are gonna be, I wanted to say I've been getting a little bit inspired, so I might
good.
start doing that more as well. Since I probably won't be able to go to the DNC this year,
Mhm.
I'll probably, because I'll be just communicating with Chris on his phone.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, for sure.
and I can communicate with all of you, which is great, because
Yeah,
it'll be incredible, because I'd love to get updates from, now that you know how to use StreamYard. It's just I'm a link away. We're all
there
good
you
to
go.
go. But what,
Yeah, no,
but what I want to, because you always represent. So I want to make sure before we do anything, I just want to remove myself from the video for a second, just to show your back.
there you go.
I mean, she's always awesome like that, and I'm going to do that again at the end of the video, just to make sure, when I'm going to plug
Okay.
your, and then, because I'm so, in 2020, we like I said, you guys approached me to make those videos, and also interview a few film celebs like Rex and John, and a few other people who were supporting Biden at the time in 2020. And I was inspired by my anger towards Trump, right? But now it's that same kind of joyful warrior anger. It's not an anger anymore. Now
Yeah,
I'm moving out of joy. So it's making my I think it's inspiring me to make the videos again. You know what I'm saying? Like
mhm, mhm,
I was so, when we first started podcasting, Chris and I, and even just Miscellaneous
mhm.
and Brown, this thing again in this format. I was a little bit almost sad. So I almost was like this was like my therapy session, but this now feels very different now.
Yeah.
It's a very different election. It's a very different campaign. And there's one thing I wanted to ask you, as the national co-chair of Philams for Harris
Mhm.
2024. If you have a Filipino family member a tita or a tito or a or even a family friend who is a
Mhm.
Trump supporter, what would you, as the co-chair of Phillips for Harris, say to them? What would be your tactics? What would you give as advice?
You know, that's a hard one, right? Because I do have relatives who are super right. And all I do with them is I listen to them and then I say, well, don't you think that's something not what the Trump, what then President Trump, what he stands for, is it in line with our values? Is it in, have they been able to produce for our community? And we could go through a list of what the past administration, which is also a Vice President Harris's administration, what they've done for us. You know,
Mm-hmm.
and one of the biggest things for our community is that we've had the highest number of insure AA and HPIs to enroll in healthcare insurance, and reach out to them because they haven't had those resources, and that's one of the biggest things that this administration did for us. I can't even tell you what the past administration did, and what they don't stand for our values at all. And all the time, we come from and I tell my mom this. It's funny. Well, she supports Harris, but I go like, Mom, don't you ever want to tell your friends that you always tell us to stay out of trouble? Why would you want to support a president that has all these
This
felonies?
is gonna put us into
Yeah,
trouble.
I was like, ano ba yan, Mom? Like, seriously, tell your friends
For
that.
real.
Yeah.
No, but it is a little bit, it is a difficult subject to approach.
Hmm.
And I'm thinking about trying to feel around and deal with it comedically.
Hmm.
So I'm thinking about debating with myself.
Okay.
Where
And I'll
I'm
watch
a
it.
level-headed one, and then I have a Tito who
Yeah,
is, you know, a Trump supporter. But the only problem is I feel like I need a MAGA hat to make sure there's a distinction,
I don't.
and I don't want to. I gotta buy a bootleg one. I don't want to buy the real one. I want to buy one that you can't really
It
see.
says
Like
Amaga.
yeah, something like it's in Tagalog or something. Like it's something better than what I don't want to really buy a MAGA hat, but
Yeah,
something that alludes to that. Maybe just a red hat. But
right.
yeah, but I'm thinking about that type of comedy stuff because I feel like we always are able to communicate within our community, especially in the Filipino community, through laughter and making
Yes.
each other laugh and sharing barcada stories and all these other things. So I feel like
Mhm.
if we can make each other laugh and find a common ground through laughter, that we can find some common ground, hopefully. Except for that dude with the Walis from January 6th.
Ay, nako, yeah.
That guy can he can
Like,
go
whose
go
ego was that? We never
go
figured it out.
away. Go away. You
I
can go
know.
to Russia. Go away. But anyway, no. But listen, I don't want to keep you too long because I know you're busy. But at the same time, I'm so happy to tell you that I'm just so happy to thank you for this opportunity. Not only this 2024, but 2020. Because it really has been an incredible journey. Even in just our relationship and how we've met and interacted. It's been a very fruitful relationship for I think the both of us, and I've been very thankful for our friendship. So I just want to get this opportunity to say that and say thank you for that. Thank you
No,
for all
thank
the stuff.
you. And one of the things, doing Philams for Biden Harris or Philams Harris Walls, like everyone that's involved, that's like from you to even our board and advisors, we're all family. Filipinos, we do it together as family because we know we have to do it as a community and out of love, which you will not see from the other side. And so that's what makes this more meaningful, is that we're creating these bonds and relationships, and that really hit home for us. So yeah, there's a lot of organizing we're doing, even now, even after convention. which will actually have phone banking, canvassing, all in the battleground areas. You know, if you're in California, we've had people who want to volunteer, and usually we phone call into the battleground areas. That's how supporting states of large Filipino American populations help. And we'll be looking to people to be part of that. So lots to do. It is a family affair, and it's all out of love to energize our community. So thank you, brother, for being there and always giving a platform for people who don't always have a voice. You know, you always give us comedic relief, and always watching your videos and seeing the joy that you bring to all of us.
Well, I'm just following our Madam President's lead, right? I'm
Yeah.
just going to be a joyful warrior for the
Yeah. Go
rest
for
of these next 3 months. It's going to be fun. For
it's
me,
going to be.
I'm looking forward to it, and I look forward to October and Filipino American History Month and
Mhm.
celebrating that. And I know Chris and I were talking about maybe even going up north and doing some live performances. So hopefully that'll do some things. But also, like I said, I'm going to be in Vegas, so maybe I'll be able to catch one of those
Yeah.
rallies and wait in a hot line. But
I'll let you know. Let me know what weekend, and I'll hook you up. Let's make it
that
happen.
would be, you see, look at, I got hook up with the DNC party now. I'm, as though I'm very happy about my new job. I am kind of upset about the timing of it, because I really was looking forward to going to the DNC and going home to Chicago. But I know that you guys are going to hold it down, and it's going to be an incredible event. And
Mhm.
I'll be able to get the updates.
Yeah,
I'm a text away. You just
yeah.
tell
You
me,
can text it
"Ooh, we
to
need to
us.
go live. Let me
Yeah.
get Eric, so I can say so he can say something stupid." Because oh my gosh, no, I'm so excited for you guys. I'm so excited for all of us. I'm excited for our country,
Mhm.
because I'm really excited to do everything that I can as a comedic artist, but also just podcaster now, and all the other things, to lend my platform, whatever that is, to further your message and further our
Mhm.
message as Filipino Americans, to support Kamala Harris and Tim Walz. Because before we go, I only recently just met Tim Walz. I didn't really know much about him, and I know
Mhm.
you got to meet him in person, and you kind
Not
of got,
yet, actually. Not
but
yet.
but you got to see him in person. You got to
I
see
got
him
to
in
see them.
Vegas. Yeah, you
Mhm.
got to feel the aura of America's dad.
Yes, that's what I call him. Yes, America's dad.
He's America's dad. He's like America's dad, and like, if you didn't have I had a good father. I love my father. I give my father a haircut. I love my
Mhm.
dad, but at the same time, if Tim Walz wanted to like co-parent with my dad, it'd be fine to get advice from Tim Walz.
I know.
Tim Walz is amazing,
Yeah.
because it's like it came out of nowhere.
Mhm.
Well, and he didn't come out of nowhere. He came out of Minnesota, and he's a governor.
Mhm.
But I have a little bit of a theory as to why uh, Vice President Harris chose Tim Walz over um, Governor Shapiro, because everybody's in a rigmarole about that, right?
Mhm.
And I feel like Governor Shapiro is only in his second year of his first term
Mhm.
as Pennsylvania governor, whereas Tim Walz is in his second term, finishing up as governor, and he already has built a beautiful legacy of free lunch for all public school
Mhm.
kids, and it's signed a Prince high dedicated a highway to Prince with a purple pen, and all these
Mhm.
other wonderful, incredible things. I mean, he was. There's almost too many incredibly cool, progressive, but like almost like he was the straight white man advocate for
Yeah.
all of those progressive ideals. And
Yeah.
even in as he went up in his career, from like the LGBTQ group, and it was also the football coach and all these other, he just seems like such an amazing, interesting, cool guy. And
Mhm.
I'm so excited to support him. And also I'm excited to see Steve Martin probably be him on SNL. And I'm all,
He said
and Maya
no,
Rudolph.
but I was like, you
Oh,
have to
he said
be.
no. Oh, he
Yeah, that's
said
what I
no.
heard. Because that would have been perfect.
Oh
But yeah,
man,
no, I agree with you with Governor Walz. You okay? So this is my theory. So Governor Shapiro, amazing. He had over 64% approval rating in his own state that has very very deep red in it. But at the same time, he's a star, and you need someone who'll supplement you, not be like we needed to highlight Vice President Harris more, and I think Governor Tim Walz was the best person for that
he's
because he's very,
perfect.
yeah, he's the best cheerleader too, hence the
And
coach.
and also a pit bull.
Yeah, he'll
But he's a
attack you,
pit bull. He's a pit bull while he's biting your arm. He's like smiling.
smiling at the same time.
He's like, I'm sorry, but I have to bite you so hard.
Yeah,
Maybe if you get off the couch, I wouldn't have to bite you. Like, I mean, his jokes are so good as a comedian.
hmm
As a comedian, his jokes, his timing. That
hmm
first joke when he said, and I can't wait to debate JD Vance, and as long as he gets off the couch, and then he goes and he does the comic thing and he says, "See what I did there?" I mean,
yeah,
he's so good. He's
he is
he's
good.
the ultimate. He's the ultimate. I love him, and
Yeah,
he's like the perfect sidekick.
yeah, they
He's the
complement
perfect
each
vice
other.
president. They complement each
Yeah,
other perfectly.
yeah, yeah. So it's
Well,
it's
it's
exciting.
so exciting. It's so exciting. But let me. Okay, so now I want to ask you about the other VP pick. What do you think about well, and even just the whole package? Because as AAP, because I'm so used to AAPI. So what is it? It's AAHN.
AANHPI.
Okay, I got to make sure to add the HN because
I know.
my sister lives in Hawaii. For goodness sake, I don't want to offend them. So
Yeah. So
AAHNPI.
Native Hawaiian. So
NH.
NH.
Good. Okay.
Yeah.
AANHPI. Perfect. Thank
Yeah.
you. But now I forgot what I was going to say.
What do I think of the other ticket?
Yeah,
Like
because
it's just a
his wife is is South Indian, or so
Southeast.
yeah, Southeast Indian. So it's it's so. What do you think?
There's nothing to think of him, or like of the vice president pick on that side. Them as a ticket is just a recipe for disaster. They're both unhinged. Both don't carry themselves well, and just embarrassing. And so we know that of President Trump himself, but to pick JD Vance, who's just incomparable to Governor Walz, like not a chance. Like I can't wait to watch that debate. So
That debate. Oh my goodness!
yeah.
You want that gif with that skinny black guy that leans back and eats the popcorn, like
Or is it
that's gonna
Michael
be me.
Jackson? Michael Jackson one?
Oh, yeah, or Michael Jackson with the Thriller and eating the popcorn like he's all. Yes, now I cannot wait for that. I can't wait for first. I want to hope. I hope that he shows up
Mm-hmm.
because you never know. I
Yeah,
hope she might get to debate an empty chair,
yeah,
which who knows. But
yeah. Like JD
but
Vance, he was his career was fueled by Silicon Valley folks, right? And whereas Governor Tim Walz, humble beginnings, truly humble rural America beginnings, and just
yeah,
and then just today alone, I was reading how his well, we have to report everything as an elected official of any gifts, assets, or whatever. And his report alone just showed his salary and what his wife made, and if they didn't report any like extravagant gifts or anything, they're so humble, and that's very opposite of what the other ticket is. So
well, I think it all also boils down to, are you greedy?
yeah,
It really is about selfishness and a lot of ways narcissism in some cases, especially with the former president. But it really boils down to being greedy. and
Mm-hmm.
wanting more for yourself than to share with the community. And I'm I'm a Democrat. I'm not. I kind of I'm maybe like a little bit Bernie in the socialist, and as far as like I would like a few more social programs that will help people and uplift people that are in need, and help uplift the middle class that has been kind of decimated since not only Trump, but just everything from George W. Bush and No Child Left Behind, and all the the kids that got the civics classes taken out
Mm-hmm.
of their classes, so we
Mm-hmm.
don't even know that there are three branches
Yeah.
of government. I mean, all these different things that have happened. I want social services to lift people
Right.
up and to lift my kids up. These
Right.
it's not for me anymore. I'm now just voting to help what our kids are going to inherit, and as far as the country.
For the
So
future, you have
and
to
so
also
I mean,
think too, Eric. Like,
go ahead.
if anything to happen to the president, let's say President of Kamala Harris, anything happened to her, Governor Tim Walz, as vice president, could just simply step into that role. You could tell he could take ownership in that way. Whereas JD Vance, imagine him being president. That's just gross. It's like no, I could not leave the country in his hands. That's for if voters are just trying to still learn, just think of it that way too.
And just for the sake of the Oval Office couch.
Yeah. Ay nako.
Look, I don't care if it's true or not. I'm gonna make a joke about it. It's just ridiculous and weird. So I'm always gonna point it out because that's
Yeah,
just me. That's how I do.
there's probably
And it
a
was just
couch.
right there. It was
No.
right there, Melissa. It was right there. I had to do it.
Ay, ay, ay.
Well, Melissa, it's been such a joy to talk to you. But I want you to this last portion of the podcast. I want you to tell everything. If people have listened this long, I know that they're interested in getting
Mhm.
involved with Phil Amps for Harris. How can they get involved? How can they contact you and follow you on Instagram? And just give all your plugs and all your things so that people will know where to find you.
Yeah, so we actually have a link tree. We do have a younger generation that's now helping us, who's very into social media and TikTok. So we have a link tree. Just go to linktree/Philams FILAMS Harris. And you'll find everything from our Facebook to our Instagram to our X. TikTok, we've had some viral videos on TikTok too. You could see all the rallies that we go to, find ways how to get involved. If you want to volunteer, you can do that from the comforts of your home or in person. We have, if you go to bit.ly/FAFH volunteer, you can sign up to volunteer. So there are ways to get involved. Or if you just want to learn more, follow us on social media. Our Instagram is what's popping right now. And we always collaborate with the NHPIs for Kamala. Um, so there's a lot. It's a big, all the other sub ethnic communities, we all work together, and it's really beautiful to see how much we are uplifting and supporting each other.
Well, I am so happy and honored to be your friend. I'm so happy to have you on the podcast, and we'll do this again
Yeah,
before the election for sure. But
for
also,
sure.
I feel like this is going to be fun. The
It's gonna
next
be fun.
90 days is going to be fun.
Yeah.
So everybody, if you didn't get all the links, I'll put them in the description of this video on YouTube if you're watching on YouTube. And if you're not, then go on Instagram and follow Philams for Harris, all one word. And let's do this, guys.
Yeah.
Because when we fight,
We win.
we win. See, we got to
Yeah.
work on that. Even the
Oh,
chanting
sorry.
in
I'll do
Vegas,
it
it was
again.
like a little weird. Like when they were like, "He won't win," and she will win, and it was like, "What is this? What are they saying?" We got to work on the chanting, guys. We got to work on the
Yeah.
chanting. We're not going back. We gotta maybe we get since there's such big stadiums, we can get those like the words where we can all chant at the same time.
Yeah.
So it's a really loud thing. But yeah, that's the one criticism I would have for the rallies is we need as supporters
Yeah,
need to step up our chanting game. Okay, guys, we
for
need to step
sure.
our chanting game. There's a lot of different groups of chanters in these huge groups, and we got to be one voice, guys. We got to be one voice.
I was there to experience that. I was like, what? One side was saying coach, the other side was saying walls, and I was like, okay, this is not happening.
You guys, we got to decide one word, and we got to do it
Yeah,
on rhythm.
yeah,
Coach, coach, coach,
yeah,
coach, coach. We got to just, we got to practice. That's
yeah,
what we got to practice. We're not used to, we haven't had these big crowds for so long. We haven't been happy for so long. We're not
yeah,
used to these emotions. That's what it is. So we're
yeah,
going to get our chanting game up. And by the DNC, we're all going to be chanting in unison as if it was like a I'm trying to think of a Kendrick concert. There you go. We're
again,
about like, not like us. They not
yeah,
like us.
yeah, exactly.
All right, Melissa. Well, thank you so
Okay,
much. And we'll see you again soon here on Miscellaneous
okay,
and Brown.
yeah.
I
Thank
really
you for everything.
appreciate it. Thank you so
Appreciate
much.
you, brother. Okay,
Talk soon.
bye.